What's happening, everyone? Welcome back. It is Jay Scott, and this is The Hook Rocks, the ultimate rock community podcast. Appreciate you tuning in and giving us a listen. Don't forget to write us a review when you're done listening to the episode. We do appreciate it. Podcasts do appreciate reviews. It means a lot to us. So if you can take the time, we appreciate it. Thank you very much. We are part of the Pantheon Podcast Network, the official network of Metallica. They've got their podcasts on our platform, and you can check out that podcast and many other music-related podcasts. So check it out at pantheonpodcast.com and on social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Pantheon Pods. And you can do the same with The Hook Rocks. Search up The Hook Rocks on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Don't forget to set your podcast app to automatic download so you get the latest episode right to your phone. And please follow, like, or subscribe, whatever platform you do listen to. You can enjoy all our new episodes as well as all the past episodes. We've got over 500. We just celebrated our 500th episode with Dax Nielsen and also our 4-year anniversary with Nita Strauss. We've had some awesome episodes recently. We welcomed Chris Voss from the record company. A great conversation with that dude, man. We talked about the album in the last 10 minutes of the interview. Everything else was about rock and roll and blues and everything. It was absolutely tremendous. We also honored the legendary Jimmy Page with our favorite luthier from Hermosa Beach, California, Mike Longacre. He's been on the show before talking Angus and Malcolm Young from AC/DC, as well as Eddie Van Halen and how he was a luthier too and how he created and built guitars. So check out that. And we also did a concert review of one of my favorite independent artists of Bourbon House, which was awesome. And of course, we had Leilani Kilgore and Aaron Coburn promoting their new tour, Fire and Frets, that starts this Saturday, the 23rd. So go online, check out their Facebook page, Aaron Coburn, Leilani Kilgore. You can find the links on my Twitter and Facebook page. Go see them. Are you tired of paying crap prices, or high prices, I should say, for all these Live Nation and Ticketmaster events, and you're getting nosebleed seats? You can get right up in front at these small venues and these small clubs, seeing two amazing independent artists for a fraction of the cost, probably like $20, and you can enjoy yourself listening to some great, great music. Some previous episodes from earlier this year, we had Scott Gorham and Don Jameson on together. Scott Gorham, the legendary guitar player from Thin Lizzy, and of course, Don Jameson, you know him from That Metal Show. George Lynch, Kip Winger, Richie Kotzen, Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick, and many others have graced our presence in 2023, so please check out that. And as you guys know, I mentioned here on the podcast and on my social media that I braved the mullets and belt buckles of Texas this weekend to go to a great event for sweetrelief.org. And if you're not familiar with Sweet Relief, it's a great charity that helps people in the music business, whether it's people in a band, the artists themselves, the producers, the writers, the engineers, the road crew, helping them make ends meet, and also with insurance and mental health resources. It's a fantastic charity, so it was really great to be a part of it. And also the fact that it showcased a bunch of new bands, namely Leilani Kilgore and Blackheart Saints and AbbyK and Christian Shields and more. And we're going to get into all that with the host, the guy that did a absolute kick-ass job. It's his second time on the podcast. We talked about his 300 plus t-shirt collection the last time he was on. And of course, he had a t-shirt for the event to add to that collection. And that is Richard. And you can follow him at Fossil Man. And his link to his Twitter will be in the show notes. So give him a follow. He's a great dude. Put on a great event. What's happening, Rich? How are you?
Hey, Jay. How are you, man? Thanks for having me again.
No, man, absolutely. What a show. What an experience. Again, like I said, the charity was fantastic. The silent auction with the items that you put together, it was great. Ace Von Johnson hosting it, did an awesome job. And of course, the bands, the 6 bands that played, were all tremendous, blew me away. It was great to see some of these bands that I've had on the show, but have never been able to see. And thank you for that. But also, dude, what a great job, and appreciate you, man. You did something really special.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you for coming, and thank you for bringing that cool weather with you. Just one request. Could you come back and bring it back?
Is it hot there now?
It got hot again, man. I was in Nashville for a few days, and it was really cool. I come back here, and it's like an oven again, man. Yeah. Enough's enough.
Well, I'll try to make it back. I don't know. I mean, got some big college football games on this weekend, so that's probably I got to watch my Notre Dame Ohio State game. And I was so thankful that it didn't fall last weekend, because I would have been like looking at the stage, looking at my phone, looking at the stage. But it all worked out, man. But what an awesome event. Let's get into what your motivation was to put this together.
Yeah, so it's an interesting thing. We used to have wild rock and roll holiday parties, not like this. We'd get a cover band and we would, just throw a crazy party and do things that we never told anybody about afterwards and all that. Well, I'm too old for that now, and I cannot, I can't drink like I used to and all those things. So I started thinking about what can I do to have something similar that's worthwhile and worth doing, that kind of combines the things that I'm really into and I really like, right? And the two things with me, I guess, are I love rock and roll and I love fossils. And so what I tried to do was do a kind of a unique combination of those two things. Honestly, the venue that we hosted, Six Springs Tavern in Richardson, mom and pop venue, small venue, like you were talking about, where they do use a ticket sales site. Can I mention who that is on this?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
It's a company called Pre-Kindle, which is a smaller site with fees that, you still have all your appendages after you pay for your ticket and those types of things, right? So, but Six Springs hasn't done nearly as well after the pandemic as they did before. So what I thought we could do would take a small mom and pop local venue, combine them with some good young rock and roll bands, make it for a charitable cause, so we could create, in effect, a win-win-win situation where the young bands get exposure, the charity gets some money, and the venue has a really good night. So I think we accomplished all those things. With anything else, it's when I do something, I am probably the worst judge on whether it went well or not, those types of things. So I would kind of bow to the opinions of the masses, as it were, on how things actually went. But I will tell you, it was an incredible amount of fun. It was something I worked on since January. And maybe one of the reasons I'm feeling a little bit tired right now is I don't have that stress and anticipation of working on that thing. It's just like 8-9 months of thinking about it, and all of a sudden it's over. So I'm still trying to get adjusted to that.
Well, dude, for your first time doing something like that with no experience putting an event like this together, I thought it went awesome. I thought it was seamless. I thought it was great the way everything was laid out. I thought the venue was great. Friendly staff. I thought the crowd was great. We go to a lot of these shows with up and coming independent artists, and we do have our hearts broken, not because we're seeing great music or the music is bad, but because of the amount of people in the crowd can be discouraging if you're a new music fan. And I can imagine what it is for the artist up on stage, but a lot of these artists are willing to do that grind. And you had the place, I would say 70 to 80% full, which is pretty solid, which is awesome. I mean, now I know the crowd dwindled towards the end of the night, but you still had a really good crowd, and you had a really good event. People were excited about the items that you did with the silent auction. And I don't think it could have gone any better, in my opinion. I mean, you're on the front lines. You were dealing with everything. But I didn't see you dealing with any major issues or any major problems. So that's a win-win for you.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it is because of the folks that were there helping me work on it. I mean, you met some of them, but with Ace and yourself, we had folks, dedicated to helping with the transportation. We had folks dedicated to the silent auction and different things like that. I did learn quite a few things. I think that, Ace Von Johnson being there, his presence and kind of being who he is with his experience and his knowledge and those things, he's helped a lot with some of the learnings. I think one of them may have been, if you do it again, try not to do 6 bands. You might want to do a maximum of 4 in order to shorten the night a little bit and avoid dwindling the crowd down towards the end. Because I do think we lost some before Blackheart Saints, and certainly before Leilani closed us out. We lost some of the crowd, which was unfortunate because, you put, with all due respect to everybody on the bill, you kind of try to stack it to where each band builds and the next one's maybe just a little bit better, a little bit more seasoned than the one before and all these things. And by the time that, Blackheart and Leilani came on, the crowd maybe had dwindled, a whole lot more than I wanted. I will say we sold less than 10 tickets away from the capacity, excuse me, of the event. So Mr. Springs actually cut off online sales earlier in the day so that he would have enough capacity left for the folks that walked up and everything. So not unhappy at all with the way the tickets sold. Had a few no-shows and different things like that, but some of that can't be helped. I will say the silent auction, thank you, Jay, for the things that you got for me from some of the other artists to put in the auction. And, one of the uniquenesses, I think, about, forgive me, Fossil Man, throwing a silent auction for rock and roll, is you might see an autographed bottle of Sammy Hagar rum right next to a 80 million year old fossil fish from Brazil and whatnot over on the silent auction table. So I did think that was pretty cool. And I think from the participation of the people there, I think that they must have thought it was pretty cool as well, because the auction went really well.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much the main thing, right? I mean, you had this wonderful charity. And what was the decision to use Sweet Relief or pick Sweet Relief as the charity of choice?
So in the past, I'd always used local Dallas charities. We on those other holiday parties we had and everything like that. But this time around, it really ties back into my T-shirts. I mean, probably almost a year ago, I guess, I bought a T-shirt from a band called Eva Under Fire, which was a Sweet Relief charity T-shirt. It was it had both the Sweet Relief logos and the Eva Under Fire logos, and I think it has a slogan on it that says something to the effect of "Turn up the music, drown out the world" or some such. And I just thought it was great, and that's where I kind of first became aware of Sweet Relief. Checked into them, and when we decided to do this, went ahead and reached out to them, and very, very easy to work with, very chill, very laid back folks, very accommodating to what we tried to do and those types of things. In my mind, it couldn't have been easier to work with them.
That's great. And have Ace Von Johnson there, who, as he stated on stage, has experience working with Sweet Relief. And I thought that was a great connection for someone that can speak truth to power about the impact that they have with their charity work. I thought that was great. Yeah.
No, Ace is great. I love Ace. He's a great, great human being. He's always a little bit hard on himself, and what's the word? Self-deprecating, the humor that he has a little bit and everything like that. But he's a terrific musician, terrific artist, and an even better person. If you interact with him much at all, you'll know that his love for dogs, especially pits and rescues and those things, is second to none. And he's built quite a platform, almost an army, if you will, of followers around the country that, because of what he's done, they have changed the way they do things. I'll give you an example, if I may, not to get too deep into Ace, but during his LA Gun Show, or the LA Gun Show here in Dallas about a month and a half ago, there was a lady who was there who was one of his Patreon followers and all. She had a framed picture of 2 white bulldogs, beautiful, beautiful dogs. And she had gone, because of Ace and what he talks about, she had gone to the shelter not once but twice got these two pit bulls, and they like completely changed her life in a positive way. So, that's the impact that he has on people without, I think he knows it, but I don't know if he really realizes sometimes the impact that he has or not. But yeah, very good guy. Really happy that he was there. And he did kind of bring a little bit almost of a bridge between those newer bands and some of the iconic classic bands like LA Guns that we love so much. And I thought that was really cool as well.
Yeah, I can't speak enough about Ace Von Johnson either. He's been on the show a few times. He's always very accommodating, very empathetic individual. I don't know if he realizes the quality of reputation he has, because he's just a great man and a great dude. I mean, I've had some health problems over the last couple of years. Every time I see him, he's always asking me how I'm doing, and I do appreciate that. But like you said, he's got a great platform for the pit bull rescues, which if you want to go check it out, he's on Twitter. I think he's also on Instagram too as well. And he frequently posts about, rescue dogs, rescue pit bulls, and provides a lot of information on the breed as well. And when he was on stage, and I thought he did a tremendous job, with his humor and the way he spoke. He's got a great voice, got a great speaking voice, and when we started talking about, he didn't get into exact details, but when he spoke about how he knows Sweet Relief is a great charity because he has the experience, that added a lot of credibility to everything that was going on that evening, because he had someone on stage who is known by a lot of people in a band that's very well known, that is speaking about the impact of Sweet Relief. And information about Sweet Relief, their website will be in the show notes, like I mentioned, with Rich's information. So please, if you want to donate, please do and check it out. But yeah, it was inspiring just that everybody came together and Ace did his thing. And I just thought he was the perfect person to host the event.
Yeah, I was thankful and very surprised and honored that opportunity came up, and it was awesome. Yeah, I never dreamed I would have a real rock show, much less have somebody like Ace Von Johnson be the host of it. But it was great.
Perfect choice. Yeah, perfect choice. So how did you go about selecting the bands? So it was kind of a twofold thing. One of them, there's just young artists that I just absolutely love. And AbbyK is one of those. I mean, it's no secret, and it's her fault. She did it. Because the first time I saw them live, they were opening for Nita Strauss, I believe, in Dallas. And was that 2 years ago now, maybe? Yeah. Yeah. So, good show coming up to the merch table, and Lori and I are 2 or 3, 4 people back in the line, and she's like cranking her head this way and that way, looking around the people in front of us. And she's like, "Are you Fossil Man?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." She's like, "Don't go anywhere. We have something for you." Right. So, we get up to the front, and they pull out a bass drum cover or head that she says, "Hey, we want to give this to you." And they signed it all up for me and all those kind of things. Right. Just that simple act of kindness and all that just kind of blows you away. And you don't expect that. You don't receive that very often from very many people. Right. You just don't. And so, since then we've seen them 3 or 4 times. They came through Dallas and, on their way to somewhere, and we had a dinner with them one night, in downtown Dallas, those types of things. So great young band, better people. Her and Diego both are just amazing people. I mean, he is, and I say this lovingly, right? He's one of the goofiest, most expressive guitar players, I think, on the planet. Just love watching him play. But so there's a combination of that. Things like, the relationship I had with AbbyK, and having seen Christian Shields a few times, and him being semi-local to Dallas. He's from Austin, so he comes through here quite a bit. Had built a little bit of a relationship with him.
some of them were by accident, where I was telling you earlier, we saw Faster Pussycat in a little town in Oklahoma several months ago, and we ran into Eyebolt there, and just loved their look, loved their sound, and what they were trying to do. So we got them on board. And then honestly, a couple of them were kind of because of you and others, the Jasons and the U's, who have these folks like Leilani on your show, and you hear the interviews, you see the videos and those types of things online, and you just kind of fall in love with the music before you ever met the people. And this is the first time I had seen Leilani Kilgore, first time I had seen Blackheart Saints as well. And it's a combination. I don't know if I answered your question, but it's a combination of all those things. And if I could, I thought a lot about what I was going to say, because I knew that you were going to ask some questions about this. And we've talked a lot for the last several years about rock and roll came to a place, into the mid 90s where it had some problems in these things. And I thought about that a lot. And I think it's because a lot of folks like me were just getting into the workforce, just getting married, just having kids, starting to build lives, all these things. And now we're on the back end of that a little bit. Kids are grown, out of the house for the most part, maybe don't have quite the financial burdens that we had at one point. And there's more opportunity right now, I think, for some of us to be able to reach out and try to help. It's one thing to talk about something that you're interested in or that you really have a passion in. It's another thing to actually get involved with it. And I want to, if I could, say that I've worked for two of the greatest leaders in the restaurant industry. I've worked for a restaurant company for almost 30 years. One of them was the legendary Norman Brinker, who had a saying where he said, there's three kinds of people in the world, right? There's the kind that make things happen, the kind that watch things happen, and the kinds that looks around after something happens befuddled and goes, what the hell just happened? Well, I knew that I didn't want to be that third kind of person. And for a long time, I had been that second kind of person, right? So I don't really want to do that anymore either. So part of what we're doing with trying to push this along and help these young bands is time and opportunity. It's time to and have the opportunity to do something to help the people that we want to do. And then the other thing is that's really helped me. It's a man named Doug Brooks, who's retired now, but to this day, sends you a nice note on your anniversary, on your birthday, all these types of things. Just the best I've ever seen in the world at making people feel special. So if we could invest a little bit in bringing some of these young bands along and maybe giving them some opportunity, bringing them back into the limelight and make them feel special while doing it, then I think it's a win-win all the way around. I think we've done our job. And more than anything, I hope that the 6 young bands who were present at the show felt special. We tried to do a knockout job in the green room. We tried to have the hospitality be second to none, all those things. And it's because they are special. They just don't see it and hear it enough. And they need to be treated like they're special because they are.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better, man. That was great what you just said. To respond to that, you talked about 2 people that you met that inspired you, and you talked about bringing this all together, and there's 3 kinds of people in the world. And you and I have had conversations about my vision for what I want to do here in Chicago and see if that builds throughout the Midwest. And I want to try to get it off the ground at some point next year. Going to this event really solidified what I want to do, because I saw you do it. You inspired me, because here you were putting this event together, and I'm like, yeah, this can happen. Like, we talked about inspiring people across the country to do this, maybe in different states throughout the year. And I'm one of those guys, that I've been thinking about doing some things. I've told you, me and Chris, member of the Groove Council, been talking about it after he did this pop-up show outside of Chicago at Bourbon House. And it was inspiring because it proved that it can be done. And like you said about these bands, they don't get enough credit. They don't get enough kind words said to them. A lot of what they hear is what they're doing is not as good as the bands that came before them, which I think is ridiculous because I think it's just as good as the Zeppelins, the Stones, whoever. It's just the only difference is that you don't hear it, because if you heard it and it was all over the radio, you'd feel the same way. And people correlate what they hear and what's popular with what's good, unfortunately. That's a different conversation for a different time. But seeing this event put together by you and the charity that you chose, and choosing Ace as a host, and the silent auction, and picking the bands the way you did, I mean, I was just sitting there, and a couple times I'd be just blown away of what was going on. And like I said before, you and I have been to enough shows where we've seen a lot of these young bands play in front of 10 people, 15 people. And it was nice to see a good crowd, and the way you built it, the way you constructed it with the bands that you picked was how it should be done. It really is. I mean, we can always look at things we can improve on with what you did. And that's the greatness about, being inspired, is like, yeah, this worked here, but I would do this a little differently. But the core of what you did, the infrastructure of what you did, was second to none. And for selfish reasons, coming down there and seeing Blackheart Saints, who's been on the show, Christian Shields, who's been twice on the show early on when I first started this thing. And he even said,
"Yep,
yeah, man, I was like one of your first guests." I'm like, yeah, you were, because I love that record that he came out with a few years ago. And Blackheart Saints has just got a great thing going too. And to see these bands that have not been able to come up to Chicago for a variety of different reasons, as we know, the music business is what it is, to see them perform was absolutely tremendous. And AbbyK, who I'd seen in Chicago, basically do a set of covers and a couple originals last year in front of like 10 people, 8 people, blew me the fuck away. Like, I was sitting at a table with her parents, and I turned to her mother at the end of the show. I go, "Holy shit, that was incredible!" Like, the energy of her and the band, a new drummer, which they hired 3 days ago, just absolutely killed it. And Diego, who goes by the Shredite, or I call him the Shredite. Like you said, man, it's got such a great personality, a warm personality. He's definitely quirky, but you love him for it. And just a tremendous guitar player, an absolute, just balls to the wall, tremendous guitar player. And Abby has just grown into herself and become a force of nature with how she performs and how she sings. And I hope they keep this drummer. I had an experience with them when they came to Chicago last year. I took them to Chicago Music Exchange, CME, which they'd never been to. And CME is world renowned by musicians across the globe. In fact, there is a wall of all the people that have been in there, from people like Aerosmith to Jimmy Page to Buddy Guy to whatever, like, this is the place to go to if you're a musician in Chicago. And to take them there and see the reaction of being in that place, and having my son with me jamming on acoustic to Over the Hills and Far Away with Diego, the guitar player, was a treat for me. And then taking him out for lunch at one of the best pizza places in Chicago called Pequod's, and getting to know them. I mean, how do you not root for AbbyK and Diego and the band that they are building? And Christian Shields just knocked it out of the park with his performance. How do you not root for a guy like that? Blackheart Saints have such a great sound and a great band. How do you not root for them? And Leilani Kilgore, just every time I see her, she absolutely just kills it on guitar, on vocals. Her songs are so strong. She just had an article written in Guitar World magazine that is a huge I posted a message on her Facebook. This is a BFG, big fucking deal, or BFD. Did I say BFG or BFD? I got to change that if I did, but just absolutely phenomenal. And it was so great because, these young bands need stuff like this, man, to get some penetration into people's minds. And it all starts at some point, right? And this is a great catalyst to people getting inspired and people doing these things around the country. And I will tell you, seeing Rich Fossil Man in action on Saturday, he said it took 8-9 months to plan. And I don't doubt that it took every bit of that. But at the end of the day, it's not as complicated as you think, right? It's not as complicated talking to a venue like the one you did in Richardson, talking to the bands, because I think a lot of people, when they think of this stuff, think about, man, how are they going to react? They're not going to respond to my stuff. They're not, the bar owner or the club owner is going to laugh at me. It's not going to happen. There's going to be all these hoops to jump through. And there are going to be challenges to anyone that does this. But again, it can be done. And if you have a plan and it's a good plan, you will succeed. And just the event was just awesome, man.
I appreciate that. I knew Abby's mom and dad were coming. It was really cool. Leilani Kilgore's mom and dad were there as well.
Yes, I saw. Yeah, I got to meet them at backstage.
Yeah, drove up from way deep South Texas, I think somewhere, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, which is a bad drive, but I guess it's not as far as Chicago, right? But or Nashville rather. She lives based out of Nashville. But no, it went well. I really like that Mr. Springs there at Six Springs also is a originals only venue. I'm sure that hurts them. I mean, if Dallas, I don't know about Chicago, but Dallas is a massive cover band city, hundreds probably of cover bands around the city, and to kind of have the balls to say no cover bands are going to play my stage. I do originals only. I think that's really cool of him to do that. And he does, I like rock and roll, but he opens for country, just anything and everything there, different nights of the week, as long as it's original. I thought that was really cool. And honestly, that's part of the reason that we selected them as well, was because I think part of the respect factor with the younger bands is, let's hear their originals. Let's encourage them to be original. Some of them do great covers. I heard the Eyebolt guys do some Motley Crue earlier in the year, and they are fantastic at doing Motley Crue, but they were also fantastic, equally so, doing their own material, Saturday night. So yeah, it was great. I think another young artist there, the gentleman that opened the evening, Griffin Holtby, I think he also had his mom and dad present there. So, to see 3 of the 6 had parents there, that was a very, very cool thing as well.
Absolutely. Eyebolt was very entertaining, very much a throwback to the days of when we were growing up. A lot of pelvic thrusts, a lot of Judas Priest-esque guitar swaying. It should be Olympic sport the way they do it. It was awesome, but they were good, man. They were entertaining. And Griffin Holtby, I have a soft spot for singer-songwriters and that whole era of like Pete Yorn and Butch Walker and Ryan Adams. So he kind of was that under kind of that type of subgenre of rock and roll. So I appreciated that. But again, this event, although it was a little dot on the map of the United States, means a lot. And don't ever underestimate what something like this can accomplish. And when you hear that the venue is a originals only, like, how do you not love and want to support a place like that? Because cover bands is one of the many reasons why new rock is struggling, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, these cover bands, and some of them don't even play it live. They track it. I mean, can you imagine playing someone else's music and then tracking it and not even playing it on stage? or playing. Yeah, I mean, this. It's to me, it's wrong. It's wrong on so many levels. And again, that's in the conversation for another time. But to have a venue owner support new music like that, I mean, we need more of that. We need way more of that because, you know, to make a quick buck now, a lot of these bars and these venues are hiring these cover bands because they know that people like familiarity and they'll go and they'll listen to it. And that's part of the frustrating thing about promoting new rock.
Yeah. And I, Sunday morning, right after, you know, being up till 4 or whatever the night before, I had to get in a van and drive to Nashville for work. And my colleague and I made the mistake of walking down Broadway Street on I think it was Tuesday night, right? Random Tuesday night. And my God, every cover band in the country, it's crazy how much cover music there is in a town like that. And it is what it is. At least some of the songs are still alive and getting heard and all those kind of things. But man, it wouldn't be good if we could have that kind of hunger for the original music as well. Yeah, quite an experience. I thought Vegas was the loudest place I've ever been to, but it may very well be Broadway in Nashville might be the loudest place on the planet now. It's crazy.
Well, you were there on a Tuesday. You missed the bachelorette parties that are there on Friday and Saturday nights. I mean, there's at least a dozen of them walking up down Broadway. I've been in Nashville enough throughout the years. I try to get down there 2 or 3 times a year because the music is great. And the key is, for anyone listening, is stay off Broadway. Because if you go to the places where the locals go to see live music, that's where you want to be. All the stuff on Broadway is great. You should always experience Broadway because it is a great place to hang out and have a good time. So if you're going there for a few nights, allow one night to go and check it out or a day to go check it out. Absolutely. But when you get into like the weeds of what Nashville is, man, places like the Basement East or the Basement or Third and Lindley, places like that, or the bar that I was telling you about where all the musicians go, which I'm not allowed to say publicly, you know? So,
I had to come home. We drove home early this morning, but I missed by, I think, one day an Els Bailey show at the Basement East, where I think Leilani's playing on that same bill. Is that right? Or maybe even playing with Els?
Maybe. Yeah.
So I could have timed it a little bit better, I guess, and stayed one more day, but I missed that one. But anyway, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, well, I'm old. What can I tell you? I was just going to say that since the show, I've had one gentleman from, you know, I know him, but I know him only in the sense of having a Twitter relationship with him for the past several years. He's reached out. He's asked about if I ever do it again. He wants to co-sponsor the show, those types of things. And that kind of got my wheels spinning on some of this. I mean, things like this could be as easy as getting a particular person, one person, to sponsor one band. And if you have 4 or 5 bands on your bill, have 4 or 5 folks that sponsor the bands and bring them in, get them up there to play. Because the question that I still cannot answer for myself is, in 2023, why would anybody, especially young people, want to be a professional musician, especially for genres like rock and roll? I don't know. I'm glad they do. I'm very, very thankful they do it. But why they do it? There's 1,000 jobs in the world, maybe 1 million, that are easier than what they're trying to do, right? So, yeah.
I agree. And I've evolved with my thinking on that. Why does somebody want to be in a rock band or play rock and roll music in 2023? And it's a simple answer: because they love it. They live it, they breathe it, they love it. And compared to generations in the past, everything always starts out pure, and everything always starts out authentic and organic. And then once it becomes to a level of popularity, then you start to see the people that get into it after people have already been doing it, right? But for people to keep doing that and carrying that flag of rock and roll and playing music, you have, or I have, and I know you have, and others we know have the utmost respect for what they do. And to support new music and to kind of base this whole podcast, the original idea was to support new bands and artists. And the commentary came with on topics that affect the music business. And then, of course, we have legacy artists, but really the legacy artists are great to talk with. They always are. But that's a vehicle to bring in people that maybe may catch an episode about a new band and hear about a new band. Yeah. And it's frustrating at times doing this. And I know you're a fan and you get frustrated too, but there's nothing more that I appreciate than watching people on stage doing the grind in 2023 and all the crap that they've had to deal with, whether it's rock music kind of being an afterthought and building an audience and really being an underground movement, to the pandemic and being locked down and not being able to go to certain states and play certain areas for almost 2 years, and still to come out the other side and still stick with it and still be doing it. I mean, come on, people. This is the time to start listening to stuff. Stop. You can always have your bands that you listen to, all the bands you grew up with, all the bands that you love. They're not going anywhere. They've made all the music. It's always there for you. But try listening to one band a month or one band a week that you haven't heard of, or maybe Fossil Man's posted about it, or I've posted about it, or someone else has. Just dive into them, and you'll be so amazed about how much you realize that these bands are just as good as the ones that came before it. You know?
Yeah. And back to the reference, I think that there's a lot of people who could be that first type of person that I mentioned, that people that can help make things happen. And for whatever reason, they just don't have enough interest, don't have enough time, whatever the thing is. But I think that honestly, it's just going to take a few of those type of folks to get behind some of these bands, get behind some of this stuff, and bring it back. And I'm biased. I'd like to see rock basically ascend all the way back and just kind of take its rightful place near the top of the music pyramid and hierarchy, because right now I think it's real, it's true. There's not as much programming, if you will, of the populace through music in rock. It's just real raw. It's what it is. And that's what makes it great. We get enough programming everywhere we go. I don't want to get it in my music as well. And these guys, these young people, especially, the songs they have and the things they're singing and playing about are just refreshingly different than the societal norm right now. And we need more of it.
Yes, we do. We need more of rock and roll. We need more of people doing what they love to do and have no regrets. And that's a beautiful thing. When you can get up on stage and do this grind that rock and roll is now because you love it, that should be appreciated. That should be talked about. That should be discussed, because it is a beautiful thing that someone is happy doing what they're doing and they know all the odds are against them, yet they keep doing it. It's a wonderful thing to see.
Yep, it is. And I will, to the thing that you're talking about trying to do in Chicago, I will help you any way that I can with that.
Thank you, man.
You can add me to that list, and I think I've got a few other folks that will come along with us and try to make it happen. And Mr. Springs has already asked me to make this thing an annual event at his place too. So I don't know about that. We'll see.
Like I said to you before the show, I was glad to get those items for the silent auction. I've had some issues over the last several months with, a health issue. And I just wish I would have had more time to be able to get more items and be able to help out more. But I appreciate the offer. And anyone listening, Fossil Man's Twitter page will be in the notes, and you can DM me. My email is on my Twitter page. If you're interested in sponsoring something like this in the future, whatever the amount is, we'll go over what the bands cost once we start contacting. But if you're interested in doing that, reach out to us, because that's going to help put more of these events in place. Because a lot of these clubs, unfortunately, when they know that's an original rock band, they don't want to pay as much as they should. And these people are driving from, Nashville. They're driving, all the way over. Gas prices are are high. Lodging is high. Food is high. So, I pretty much know what the going rate is for most of these bands. And, if you want to sponsor half of a band or the whole band or the whole event and you're passionate about it, please reach out to either Rich, because I think he's going to do it again next year, or at least I want him to, because it's awesome. And I'm going to start to work on our event here in Chicago and see what we can come up with a couple of friends here that are part of our group, Rich, that are from Chicago, and see where it goes. And maybe something will pop up in Colorado. Maybe something will pop up in California. Maybe something will pop up in Florida. Who knows where this will go? But I think there's so many possibilities. And I think if more people do this and it becomes this network, I think it's going to be a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And you are right. Now that I look back, it is easier than I thought it was. I mean, part of the reason it took so long is I could work on it 15 minutes here, 30 minutes there and all that. And so the sporadic nature of it made it take longer to get it set up. But for the most part, the bands were very accommodative, very responsive. I did have one or two that I kind of got deeply tangled with agencies and this and that and what have you. And I kind of got in over my head pretty quick. But for the most part, easy stuff. Leilani Kilgore was probably the easiest person to deal with out of any of them. I mean, super responsive, super receptive. Just you get a opinion, just observing someone on a podcast or on stage or what have you when they're being interviewed and all these things. But then you have a personal interaction, and then you can either confirm that or reform your opinion and all that. And I will tell you that the way that she came across on those interviews and those things is exactly how she was when she was dealing with me as well. And again, that's just super refreshing. There's not a ton of people in society as a whole that you get the same person all the time. And I really like it when it happens.
Absolutely. She is completely awesome. And everyone that I've dealt with, I didn't really have a lot of interaction with Blackheart Saints on Saturday, just because I was getting pulled in different directions and meeting people that have listened to the show. And that was a great experience too, as well. But, got to shake hands with Christian Shields, which meant a lot. Got to hang out with Abby and Diego. And I trying to remember the name of the drummer, but he was 19 or something like that. Fantastic drummer. And then, of course, Leilani, who I've had on the show, she's awesome and very friendly. And of course, Ace. What more can you say about Ace? Ace, if I do this event in Chicago, Ace will be the host.
Awesome.
Ace will be the host to do that. So, because I saw him up there and he believes in Sweet Relief. He's got a connection with Sweet Relief. And I believe if you're going to have a spokesperson up there, it's good to have someone that sells it through their experience and not just words. And I think that's awesome.
And to have someone up there kind of running the night, if you will, bringing the bands on, taking care of making sure people remember to bid on the auctions, to do these things. That was a massive, massive help for the whole night, was that I didn't have to do that myself. Mm-hmm. Ace was up there. I did a poor job. I did create him a run sheet. It wasn't very good. It's the first time I've ever done that, but he absorbed it and then ad-libbed it and did a really good job with it throughout the evening. So I think that host to run that thing, keep that thing going, keep it moving, I think that's honestly a must if we do this again. there is a greater than zero chance you're going to see this happen again in Richardson, Texas. Yes.
I believe it. And I will reciprocate your hospitality. I will bring you up to Chicago too as well. And you can enjoy the event and I am so motivated to do this. And, I've got also a partner here through the Groove Council that wants to work on this too as well. And I could probably tie in a couple other individuals, but like I said, it's a very inspiring cause. It's a very inspiring moment. And to just have it with new bands and up and coming bands, that have been around 10 years or less, I think is a wonderful thing. And like I said, if you're listening and you want to be a part of something like this, it's not going to happen next weekend or next month. But if you say, hey, when you get this together, I want to help sponsor the bands, send us those messages, because if we have that and we know we have people interested in doing it, that's like half the battle. That's the challenge is easier once we know that.
It'll help with the planning so much. If you have 5 people that all are going to help and you know what they're going to do beforehand, it will help so much. And I mean, again, one of the unique things about me is the combination of rock and roll and fossils. As I'm sitting in my room here looking around, which nobody can see because we're on audio, on my left side, it's all rock and roll. And on my right side, it's all fossils. So I'm happy to bring some stuff up fossil-wise, donate it if you have silent auctions, things like that. I haven't done the math yet to know which made the most money, rock memorabilia or fossil stuff, but I know that both of them did extremely well. I think we had 32 silent auctions and all 32 items got bids. And can we say the amount? Is that allowed?
Absolutely. Sure.
Okay. So bids are a few of the bidders are still paying for their auctions. So this number is an approximate, because some of the guys that pay for the auctions actually are chipping in more than actually the bid price and all that. So for right now, we're at $7,205 for the evening, with still about 8 items yet to be paid for. So we'll be probably in the $7,500, $8,000 range by the time it's all over, which I think that's pretty good for one evening.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it is. And I like the fact that you can walk around with an iPad, and if people want to donate, they can just boom, scan a QR code and pull it up and donate right there, even if they're not bidding on an item, which I think is a really powerful thing. And that's something that, looking to just planning something here, maybe have a few people just walking around asking for donations while that with the QR code. I think that would be another way to help build money. I mean, like I said, there's always things that you see that you can always improve on, but the core and infrastructure of this event is the map of how to do it. It really is. I mean, it is. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just, I'm an older guy. I just want to rock and help out where I can. And, it's overused, but making people feel special is what we do every single day, man. It's been ingrained into me culturally. So it's kind of become second nature to who I am. So if I can help do that, then absolutely.
Great event, man. Well, as we end till next year, I know you got a grin on your face, and I know that I was talking to your wife, and
oh boy.
But again, you'll decide what you want to do. And
so, what did she say? By the way, I mean, do I need a doghouse to sleep in?
No, I think she's good. I just think that anytime you bring up, and next year she just goes silent.
Oh boy.
There's no response. There's just like, okay. And maybe, again, you both have to decompress, because this was a big event. This was a big deal. And I think after anything that you do like this and you put together, there's always that come down, right? You're coming down from the high and you're like, man, this was exhausting. This was a lot of time. And then after a month or two, you're like, yeah, but it was a lot of goddamn fun, wasn't it?
It really was. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it would be, I think what makes it the event what it is just how you align the stars for the whole thing. You had a great cause, you had a great host, you had a great venue, and you had great artists, and you had a great auction.
Yep.
And you hit on everything. And I thought you got to be able to do that in order to have this be successful.
And there's other things we could add on. I actually cut out, we were going to have an online auction where we sent items to a Sweet Relief and they auctioned them in advance of the event. I couldn't get that together. There's potentially a 5K that we're going to throw about a week in advance of the event, those types of things. So yeah, we probably are already planning a little bit for next time, honestly.
That's an interesting thing too, a 5K.
Yep.
People run in that Texas heat.
They do, yeah.
And they're not being chased. They're not being chased by police.
No, early in the morning. You got to do it really early.
Like what, 5? Man,
7:30. Yeah.
That's the first place I've ever landed on a plane where they said, "Please keep the windows closed so it keeps the airplane cool."
Yeah. Well, you were here though. We had a cool front, so it was actually pretty nice when you were here. Yeah.
That's what we get in Chicago is what your cool front is,
Yeah. No.
And for anyone interested, they do have In-N-Out Burger out in Texas. So I did Uber from my hotel room to an In-N-Out Burger before I went to the venue because I'm like, hey, why not? So I did enjoy a double at the In-N-Out Burger and Ubered back to the hotel, took a little bit of a cat nap, and it was great. It was a great way to start the evening. And for all the people that were talking to me, I know Tracy, who's a follower, her sister was there, all great people, all tremendous people. So thank you for your hospitality.
Yep. So I do have about 15 shirts left. If anybody wants a shirt, I'd be happy to send it to them. Large and extra large is all we have left, but let me know and I'll give you a shirt. No worries.
Rich, it's been a blast talking with you, man. I do appreciate it. Appreciate this weekend. He did an awesome job. Like I said, his Sweet Relief will be in the notes. His Twitter page will be in the notes. So give him a follow and look up Sweet Relief and look at the cause that he had for this charity. Thanks again to Fossil Man for not just being here tonight talking, but for the event itself. Thank you to Ace Von Johnson for hosting, Griffin Holtby, Eyebolt, AbbyK, Blackheart Saints, Christian Shields, Leilani Kilgore, all tremendous. All the people that came up and shook my hand and told me how much they enjoy the show. Thank you very much. Thank you for everyone that auctioned or put forth a bid on the auctions. You helped the cause. And thank you to the Silver Springs Tavern that just did a tremendous job hosting it as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thank you, Rich. Thanks for everybody listening. This has been another episode of The Hook Rocks. This is Jay Scott. Take care of each other. We will talk soon. Thank you very much. Bye.
Without hesitation, inside your mirage, I'll always seem to be lost. Where mental health will hide itself in camouflage. This is the